WWE was sold out in Chicago tonight. 15,000 people. Not one seat left open. WrestleTix put the map up. I couldn't believe it. Not one single ticket left. They were packed to the brim in Chicago for a SmackDown that promised something big with Sami Zayn. It was going to be a big night. Something was going to happen tonight with the Bloodline. I told you guys last week I was worried. I was worried for Sami. I had a bad feeling about tonight. I had a bad feeling things were not going to end well for the Honorary Uce, and he showed up tonight, man. He was looking good. He had his suit on. He had the man bun going, hair slicked back. He was ready to become a made man tonight. And when this night was over, Sami Zayn was not made. He was not made official as a member of the Bloodline, but he was spared. It did not end as badly as I feared for Sami. What we ended with was a major match announcement. Now, in 2 weeks, we have our final SmackDown. They're going to be live in Tampa, Florida, December 30th. We now know what the main event of that show is going to be. The one thing we knew about that show going in is that John Cena was going to be making a special appearance that night. We did not know what John Cena was going to be doing. Now we know exactly what John Cena is going to be doing. John Cena is going to be wrestling. It's going to be John Cena and Kevin Owens as tag team partners taking on Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. That is a huge main event for the final SmackDown of the year. And also, it preserves John Cena's streak. Every year for the past 20 years, John Cena has wrestled at least one match in WWE. John Cena has not wrestled a match this year. And so the window is closing rapidly. And now we know that the streak will be kept intact. John Cena will wrestle one match here in 2022. It will be the final SmackDown of the year. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But Sami Zayn got all dressed up for nothing. I guess the official ceremony will have to wait for another day. But he made out okay tonight. Bray Wyatt. I have been saying now for the past few weeks that Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, their feud has kind of been dragging along. It's kind of going in circles. We need something new. Well, tonight WWE gave us something new. We got Uncle Howdy in the flesh for the first time. And yet when that segment was over, I still felt like it dragged on for far too long, and it still feels like we're going in circles. But we did get Uncle Howdy in the flesh for the first time tonight. I have a theory as to who Uncle Howdy may be. You may call me crazy for this, but I will let you know who I think Uncle Howdy might be, or at least who I thought Uncle Howdy might have been in the costume tonight. But we also had an Intercontinental Championship match, and this was the best thing on the entire show. I would go so far as to say that this right here was the match of the week. And that includes a very good main event on Dynamite with MJF and Ricky Starks on Wednesday night. But this may be my favorite. For the Intercontinental title, we had Gunther defending against Ricochet. These two went out there and they had a fucking great match here on this show tonight to complete their trilogy. We've had two matches prior, also both very good. But these guys went out there tonight. They had the crowd hanging on to every near fall. These people badly wanted to see Ricochet walk away with the championship, even though you had to know it was going to end the way that it did. But it just goes to show you, we know Ricochet in the ring is great. We know what Ricochet can do. But it brings joy to my heart to see Walter on the main roster, not only doing well and surviving the main roster, but thriving on the main roster. He is the number 2 heel in the entire company. I don't care what the internal roster says. I don't care how WWE classifies or ranks their talent. I'm ranking their talent. Number 1 is Roman Reigns. That cannot be disputed. He is their biggest star. He is their biggest heel. The number 2 heel on the WWE roster, either brand, is the Intercontinental Champion. How long has it been since we've been able to say that about the IC Champion? That he's one of the top stars in the company, the top heels in the company. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that. But he goes out there consistently every time we see him in the ring, and he kills it. He killed it in NXT UK. He killed it on the main NXT brand. And here in the Triple H era, he has been killing it over these past 5 or 6 months. It's been a pleasure to watch. Tonight was no different. I fucking love that match. But I'll tell you one match that I did not love. which was the triple threat tag team match. We do have new number one contenders for the SmackDown tag team titles, and they are Hit Row. Hit Row is going to challenge the Usos next week for the undisputed tag team titles in what will surely be the most heatless of any title defense the Usos have had in the 500 plus days that they have been champion. One thing that happened tonight in that match, and look, I don't mean to pick on somebody when they're down, but it has to be said. I made the comment last week that Top Dollar did not look good. Top Dollar, I said, was moving around with his knees. He looked like Andre the Giant a year before he died. That's how he was moving around. Michael Cole went on TV tonight and told us Top Dollar has slimmed down, which it looks like he has. Michael Cole said that Top Dollar has lost 100 pounds. And to that, I applaud. I say congrats to Top Dollar. That's going to be good for his long-term health. I don't think wrestling and getting in the ring is going to be good for his long-term health if we see more of what we saw from him tonight. Top Dollar is a very confident guy. He's very sure of himself, or full of himself. I guess it depends on how you look at it. And we've seen Top Dollar do dives every now and then, but I have a thing. And if you've been listening to me and watching me long enough, you've heard me say this before. Everybody dives, right? It's ridiculous how everybody thinks, no matter how big or small they may be, everybody feels the need to dive. Well, Top Dollar felt the need to dive tonight. Top Dollar felt the need to die based on what nearly happened here in this match when Top Dollar decided to give us a literal suicide dive. And he built up so much speed that had he been driving, he would have been ticketed for driving under the speed limit. I don't know what possessed him to do this. I don't know what made him think that this was going to be a good idea. But he built up whatever steam he possibly could, like a car running on E, and tried to dive out over the top rope, and he didn't quite make it. And he caught the rope, and he took this bump on the way down. It'll be a miracle if he didn't break his spine in half. Top Dollar, unfortunately, did not clear the rope, and he took a botched bump out of the ring on an attempted dive. And that is exactly the sound that I heard in my head as I saw Top Dollar falling to the floor. Now, thankfully, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. He's okay. He tried to no-sell it. He tried to brush it off as best he could, but there was no saving it. The people let him know what they thought of that spot. And all I could think is, as I watched Top Dollar over these last couple of weeks that I've seen him, because he was beyond awful. Even take the botch spot out. Top Dollar is just, he's been terrible. And I watch him and Ashanti the Adonis is okay. I mean, I don't really have an issue with Ashanti in the ring, but I watch Top Dollar and I just think to myself, how long before, once he gets released again by Triple H, how long before Billy Corgan makes him the new NWA World's Heavyweight Champion? I wonder. It's Friday night. This is your SmackDown review here for December 16, 2022. I am the Solomonster. Having a little bit of fun with you on a Friday night, because why else are you here, right? You're here not to have a terrible time. You're here to have fun. So we'll try to limit our Top Dollar talk, because overall I thought this was a good show. Actually, if you take that tag team match out, this was as good of a SmackDown as they've probably had in several months. It's a very good show overall. Help us get to 72,000. Help me get over the top rope. I'm going to try to dive out of the ring. Help me get over the top rope. We're trying to hit 72,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button if you are not already a channel subscriber. That would help out a lot. Super chats are open. Send them on in. I will be reading your super chats and answering your questions. And I just caught, out of the corner of my eye, I got to give him a shout out here and now, to Scorp's Abandonment, who just dropped a $50 super chat. Scorps, you get the yes treatment. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the 50 bucks. I will be reading yours later as well. And 350 likes is the goal tonight for Be the Booker. You know, it reminds me I should probably add Top Dollar to Be the Booker. I don't think I have him in there. We got it. We got to get Top Dollar and Be the Booker. We got to get him in there. I can just imagine the cornucopia of matches that we could potentially land on with Top Dollar perhaps against Hulk Hogan. Maybe Top Dollar against The Undertaker. Who else? Just imagine the possibilities. Let's get into this show here, because we open with the Usos and Sami Zayn pulling up to the arena. Sami's big night, and he was decked out in his suit. He had the man bun going. You could see he had groomed the beard a little bit. He was in a great mood. Michael Cole said, tonight, Sami becomes a made man in the Bloodline. And I still had that vision of Goodfellas in my mind. But while they waited for Roman Reigns to arrive, because he was not yet at the building, we went to our opening match, which was for the women's tag team titles. Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox challenging Dakota Kai and Io Sky for the championships. Liv pulled the kendo stick out from under the ring early on. Tegan stopped her from using it and tried to calm her down, which led to Damage Control taking over. So Liv nearly got her team disqualified in this tag team championship match. But they came back very quickly. Tegan wiped out Dakota and Io with a crossbody off the top onto the floor. That led us into our first commercial break. After the break, Damage Control was back in control. I see what I did there. Damage Control back in control. They kept Tegan on their side of the ring. She broke free, was able to tag Liv Morgan into the match. She hit a missile drop kick. And Dakota, actually, no, it was Io. Io distracted Morgan, which allowed Dakota. She hit her with a wicked kick, too. And this is one of the things I love about Dakota Kai. Because there's an independent wrestler named Janai Kai. Kind of funny, actually, right? They have the same last name. Janai Kai, you know, we've had her in for some of the House of Glory shows, and I think she's made some appearances in Impact as well. AEW Dark. They call her the Kick Demon. She's very good. But I also look at Dakota Kai as a kick demon because she comes around the bend, right? She comes circling around the ring, and out of nowhere, she'll just deliver that big boot to the face. And she gave her a great-looking big boot to the face to Liv Morgan here. So they tried a creative spot once the babyfaces were able to regain control. It made a comeback, and Liv Morgan jumped off Tegan's back, hit a code breaker. Tegan followed with the shiniest wizard. Dakota broke up the pin attempt. Morgan gave Kai a sunset power bomb. So she slid out of the ring under the bottom rope and gave her a sunset bomb on the floor. Io then took out Liv Morgan with a running drop kick. What have I done here? I see all of the potential Top Dollar matches here polluting my chat. It is just one potential opponent after another for Top Dollar. Top Dollar against Abyss. Top Dollar against his ego. I don't know if there's enough space in the ring for that. Top Dollar against Rico and Jake Paul. This is out of control here. Out of control. So anyway, the finish of the match, we had a mystery person come out from the crowd. They were decked out in a black hoodie from just head to toe. We couldn't see who it was under the hoodie. But this person came out. They attacked Tegan Nox. Security then dragged the person away. Io Sky took advantage of this, hit her top rope moonsault, and got the pin to retain the tag team titles for Damage Control. I thought the match was okay. They tried a few unique spots in there, some creative stuff. And we're not sure if this person, and we already know who the person is, but we're not sure if this person was there to directly target Tegan Nox, or if they were there perhaps as a new member of Damage Control. We weren't sure, right? And I'm thinking in my mind, you know, who could this person be? I'm looking at the SmackDown women's roster and who's not being used right now. Sonya Deville's not being used. Xia Li's not being used. Everybody else is basically accounted for except for Charlotte Flair. And you know that's not how Charlotte Flair's coming back. This person was too small anyway to be Charlotte Flair. And it turned out that it was, in fact, Xia Li. Now, how did we find out that this person under the hood was Xia Li? Later on in the show, in the middle of a match, just randomly, Wade Barrett tells us, we got breaking news here from WWE social media, that Xia Li is the person who attacked Tegan Nox. And that was the last that we heard of it. That was it. Which begs the question, if they were just going to casually announce who the mystery person was, why did she feel the need to run out there and disguise herself? Kind of odd. Did she not think that somebody wasn't going to figure out who it was? Was she worried about getting in trouble? Perhaps. I just think that was very goofy. But look, at least they're doing something with her. When Triple H took over from Vince McMahon, I was wondering, are they actually going to do something with Xia Li? I was looking at the Raw roster and the SmackDown roster, who's being used, who's not being used. Xia Li's basically been in catering for most of the year. Triple H took over. I said, maybe we'll start to see her on television. Nope. Random appearance here and there, but it's been more of the same. She's been stuck in witness protection, basically, for the last 5 or 6 months. Actually, now it makes more sense. Maybe that's why she wanted to disguise herself. If she's in witness protection, she wouldn't want to reveal her identity. That at least makes sense. But now we know who it is. It's Xia Li. Xia Li, for those who didn't see the segment that was on WWE's YouTube channel and Twitter, they dragged this person to the back. Adam Pearce pulled down the hood to reveal Xia Li. He shooed away the security people and told Xia to come with him and get in his office. And that was the last that we heard. So we don't know why Xia Li did this. My guess, if we're being realistic about this, she was sick and tired of sitting in catering. Tegan Nox was gone from the company. She was fired. She was let go last year. Tegan Nox shows up one week, and all of a sudden she's on television getting a tag team championship match. And Xia is probably sitting in the back going, what the fuck? I've been sitting back here all year. This woman just came back. How come she gets the shot and I don't? You could tell that story on TV. That would actually be a very believable explanation. Xia Li has every right to feel that way. We'll see if that's the story they tell. Chelsea Green, I noticed, was really leaning into it on her Twitter. When the mystery person made their appearance, she put the eye emojis on Twitter, because there's been a lot of rumors about Chelsea Green possibly coming back to WWE, and Matt Cardona as well. And I think Chelsea Green may well be on her way back to WWE, but it was not Chelsea Green. So after the match, Michael Cole introduced a hype package for Gunther in advance of the Intercontinental title match later on in the show. I thought this was very well done. It had classical music in the background showing him chopping various people, which is always fun to watch. He complimented Ricochet as one of the most gifted athletes that he's ever seen, and he promised to chop Ricochet into pieces. We got a Ricochet video package after the commercial break, focusing on his SmackDown World Cup win, and Ricochet told Gunther that he was going to give him the fight of his life. That's what he told him last week, so I like that. You know, building up this championship match is something big. We have video package for one guy, video package for another guy. That's the equivalent of doing pre-match promos. Instead of pre-match promos, we had a pre-match video package. We went backstage with the Bloodline. It was Sami Zayn with the Usos, and Sami was very nervous. He was excited, but he was very nervous about tonight. Hey, shout out to Sonic Youth 615, who just became a channel member. We have picked up quite a few, a record number of channel members this month. A lot of them have been gifted by others in the chat. You can gift a channel membership to someone, but Sonic Youth just signed up to be a channel member. Thank you, brother. Welcome to the family. Speaking of family, the Bloodline, right? The Bloodline is family, and Sami is very nervous. So he wants to know, where's Solo at? And I'm just thinking, I'm sitting right here. But he was talking about Solo Sikoa. And the Usos told him he's with the tribal chief. He'll be here soon. They're on their way to the building. Sami said he needed to go get some water, and he left. So then it was just Jimmy and Jay all by themselves. And Jay was very excited. He told Jimmy that Roman's going to make him a full-blown Uce here tonight. Very interesting how the dynamic has changed coming out of War Games. Now, Jey Uso loves Sami Zayn, and Jimmy Uso is the one who's kind of putting a damper on things. And Jimmy said to him, he had his doubts. I don't know. He thought they were setting Sami up for disappointment. And Jay told him not to worry about it. So then they aired what Michael Cole described was very disturbing footage from a QR code that they received earlier today. And we saw the video, and honestly, the thing that pissed me off the most about this video was the fact that it was shot portrait and not landscape. Was I the only one? My OCD was kicking in and just really annoyed the fuck out of me. So we see this video that was shot. LA Knight has been abducted. You remember last week, LA Knight was looking for Bray Wyatt in the back. And the lights went out, and we didn't know what happened to LA Knight. Well, it turns out that he was abducted. And in this video, it showed him, he had a mask on. Same mask that Bray was wearing the night that he came back. And then the person who was filming, who I presume is supposed to be Uncle Howdy, was wearing a white glove, so we couldn't tell who it was. Pulls the mask up, and we see LA Knight. He's got a gag in his mouth. He's screaming, but we can't hear what he's saying. But he's squirming, and he's screaming. So then we immediately cut back live to the arena, and there's LA Knight. And he's on his way to the ring. He's looking around. He's very nervous, but he's on his way to the ring. So apparently he was freed at some point. All of this was very weird. Now, why was he abducted? We don't know. Why was he abducted and then just let go? We have no idea. But that led into the next segment. Now, I have been waiting to get more out of this Bray Wyatt stuff. They gave us more tonight. As I said, though, at the top, it feels like they are just trying to squeeze every last drop out of the sponge until it is completely bone dry. LA Knight was in the ring when the show came back. Another break. LA Knight is in the ring. He told the crowd to shut up because he had business to take care of. He said he was blindsided and kidnapped in the last few weeks, yet he's still here. He gave Bray credit for being a former WWE champion. He gave Bray credit for a very successful return at Extreme Rules, right? He gave him credit for all those things, but he said he's done absolutely nothing but dress like a circus freak and talk a lot without getting to the point. I thought that hit a little too close to home. He said that he knows that Bray is Uncle Howdy and he's the one that attacked him. He told him to go put on whatever mask or costume he needs to and get down to the ring so he can get stomped out. And then he started to go crazy. He started to do he does the whole, yeah. He started to say that over and over again, yeah. And he was getting the crowd into it. And then finally the lights went out. And Bray Wyatt's music hit. And by the way, for those who are interested and for those who do not know, the official Bray Wyatt theme song is now available on Spotify. I know it was leaked on YouTube weeks ago, but if you want it on Spotify, and I would imagine if it's there, it's probably on Apple Music and all these different platforms, you can get it on Spotify now. It is Shatter by Code Orange. It is a very good song. So they played Shatter, and out walks Bray Wyatt. Smoke pours into the arena. Bray Wyatt walks out in his street clothes. He's got a microphone in his hand. Walks out on stage. He tells Chicago that he's missed them. Told LA Knight that he knows that he doesn't believe him, but he warned him that he's barking up the wrong tree because it wasn't him. He says, I haven't touched you. And Bray said deep down they both know how this story ends. And as Bray stepped, he was talking as he was climbing the steps, climbing into the ring. As he got into the ring, LA Knight attacked him. Finally, enough of this shit. LA Knight says, it's time to get down to brass tacks. He attacks Bray Wyatt. He starts stomping a mud hole in him in the corner, just as he promised he would. All of a sudden, an Uncle Howdy video, we've seen many of these, pops up on screen. And we hear the voice, the distorted voice, asking us if we wanted to see something really scary. Now, Bray is down in the corner, right? He's getting stomped on, and he starts laughing as this is happening. LA Knight has no idea what's going on, so he continues to stomp on Bray Wyatt. Then he stops because he could see something is going on here. And we see Uncle Howdy in the flesh emerge. And he's standing there out on stage. And my first thought when I saw him was, boy, he looks short. I mean, he looks like, what did he remind me of? He looked like one of the Lollipop Kids from The Wizard of Oz, or the little leprechaun guy from the Leprechaun movies. What was his name? Chadwick or something? It wasn't that short, but out walks Uncle Howdy. He's got the hat. He's got the latex mask on, so we really can't get any sort of hint about who's underneath or anything like that. But that was the big reveal here, is that Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt are not one and the same. Unless this was some sort of decoy to throw us off, we are supposed to now believe that they are two different people. They are not, in fact, the same person. So Uncle Howdy is out there, and he is laughing. They're playing the laugh over the PA system repeatedly over and over again. LA Knight now is freaked out by all this. He backs out of the ring. He has no idea what's going on. The camera showed Bray Wyatt sitting down in the corner, and in the background behind him, down the aisleway, you can see, it's kind of blurry, but you can see Uncle Howdy, and he's kind of holding his lapels, and, you know, he's laughing, and he's just doing this, and this is going on and on and on, like, for an uncomfortable period of time. I'm thinking, is something going to happen here? Are the lights going to go out? They're going to come back on? Bray's going to be gone? Uncle Howdy? Nope. They just lingered on this for an uncomfortable period of time, and then they just faded to commercial. Even Bray, honestly, even Bray looked a little uncomfortable with how long this was going for before they finally cut to break. So we got something new. We got Uncle Howdy. I got to tell you, I think as I look at Uncle Howdy, it kind of hit me tonight. We can't see who's underneath or anything like that. We can't see the color of the skin on their hands, if they're tan, if they're black, if they're white. We can't really tell any of that. But I look at that fucking hat. And it also, again, it struck me how much shorter he seemed to be to me. I was expecting, I don't know, somebody a little bit taller, I guess. But I'm looking at this guy, the height, the hat, and I swear, I'm thinking it may be Cameron Grimes in the Uncle Howdy costume. I thought of Cameron Grimes. I saw that fucking hat. It's really what I saw. And it made me think of Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes was basically written off NXT television, right? We haven't seen him on there in weeks. And the rumor has been that he is main roster bound. It's just a matter of when, not if. What are they going to do with him? What brand is he going to be on? It was really just a question of when. And it makes me wonder if the reveal is going to end up... Now, I say the reveal. If they reveal that Cameron Grimes is Uncle Howdy, it's not like it's going to get a big pop because a lot of people aren't going to know who he is. But perhaps they're using him in this role. Maybe he's got something to do with this. Maybe he'll be revealed at the end of all this as the person who's under the Uncle Howdy costume. I'm just saying. I know everybody is thinking Bo Dallas. And maybe it will be. Maybe it will end up being Bo Dallas. All I'm saying is don't discount the possibility that Cameron Grimes could be Uncle Howdy or could be involved in this in some way. That's what I was thinking when I was watching him in the standing there on stage tonight. But we'll see. We'll see. I was still underwhelmed when this was over. I just thought the way that segment kind of dragged out, it just seemed a little off to me. I don't know if maybe they went longer than they should have or what. But this whole thing is just, it's going on for a very long time with very little action. And at some point, you've got to give people some more action. Tonight we had LA Knight stomping a mud hole in Bray Wyatt. That's more action than we've got out of the storyline since it started. Now, I think that Bray Wyatt is a very creative guy. And I'm not upset that they didn't reveal who Uncle Howdy is because I didn't expect them to, right? You have to imagine that they're going to drag that out. They're not going to give you everything, his first appearance. They're not going to tell you who he is. So that didn't bother me. But they've got to give us more soon. They've got to give us more than this. You can leave the people wanting more, but when this was over, I just thought this segment was pretty lame. And I also was left thinking, man, they're going to drag this thing out to the Royal Rumble, aren't they? We're not going to get a Bray Wyatt LA Knight match until the Royal Rumble. That's 5 weeks. I'm sorry, if this is going to drag out 5 more weeks, you got to give me more than a couple of Uncle Howdy videos and a kidnapping. I hope they have more planned than that. And then we'll see if this rumor about a pitch black match, whatever the hell that is, comes true. I know that was something WrestlingNews.co reported a few weeks ago. And we don't even know if that has to do with Bray. But when I heard that they were planning something called a pitch black match, that was an idea that was being floated. I mean, who else do you think of, right? You think of Bray Wyatt. We'll see. After the break, we saw Roman Reigns arriving to the venue. He was with Paul Heyman, and he was with Solo Sikoa. We are only 30 likes away from actually hitting our goal tonight. Are you kidding me? Is that true? Well, then surely we can hit 400. That led into our next match. This was the highlight of the night. And no, I'm not talking about one of Chris Jericho's shitty nicknames that he's used over the years. He's had some good ones. That wasn't one of the better ones. The highlight of the night was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was Gunther. I don't do it as well as Samantha Irvin does. One of the best parts of SmackDown is Samantha Irvin introducing Imperium whenever they come out. But it was Gunther defending the Intercontinental title against the SmackDown World Cup winner in Ricochet. They had the Shane McMahon Memorial Cup on a podium in the corner as they did the ring introductions for this match. Adam Pearce was in the ring. And before the match even started, before they even finished the ring introductions, Adam Pearce immediately ejected Vinci and Kaiser and sent them to the back. And that's how Michael Cole referred to them on commentary. He called them by their first names. Or, I'm sorry, their last names. Vinci and Kaiser. Now, I don't know if that was a one-time thing or if they've lost their first names. Maybe it's true. Maybe Vince McMahon really is back. We'll have to wait and see if they lost their first names, but that's what he called them. He called them Vinci and Kaiser. So the bell rings and we're underway here. We have Gunther earlier on doing some leg work, working over the leg, doing some arm work, working over the arm of Ricochet. Gunther applied a Boston Crab in the center of the ring. Ricochet was able to break free, landed some kicks and chops, and Gunther shut him down with a backbreaker. He applied another Boston Crab, transitioned into an STF. Ricochet, though, was able to reach the ropes. Gunther hit a huge chop to the chest and applied a sleeper hold with a body scissors. Ricochet managed to break free of the body scissors, but Gunther continued to hold on to the sleeper hold. And Ricochet was, using kicks. He was trying to escape. He tried to pick him up. He couldn't do it. He ended up collapsing to the mat. Gunther picked him up, hit a butterfly suplex, more brutal chops, and I just thought, yes, more violence. Violence! I like violence on my wrestling shows. So Ricochet collapses from these chops in the corner. Gunther lined up for another chop. Ricochet missed, landed some chops of his own, some kicks. And Gunther was trying to cover up in the flurry. Ricochet hit a drop kick in the corner. He tried and failed to pick up Gunther for a suplex. Gunther landed a drop kick of his own. Picked up Ricochet for a power bomb, but Ricochet flipped out of it, and he sent Gunther to the floor. And Ricochet connected with a drop kick from the apron to the floor. He hit a picture-perfect springboard moonsault onto Gunther, heading into the second break of the match. They gave these guys time. They had 2 commercial breaks here in this match. They went 21 minutes in this match. They come back from the break. Gunther was still outside. He got caught by a Ricochet dive. See, Ricochet is the kind of person that you leave the dives to. Top Dollar should leave the dives to Ricochet and Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio and the people who actually can pull it off and make it look good. That was his mistake. Ricochet headed up top. Gunther chopped him, though, cut him off. Gave him a German suplex while standing on the middle rope, but Ricochet landed on his feet. And Ricochet hit him with a running knee. Gunther took him down with a big boot and a lariat. Ricochet came right back. He got Gunther up this time. He powered him up, hit a vertical suplex to a big pop. Up goes Ricochet to the top rope. Ricochet's going to fly. This is what Ricochet does best. This is his bread and butter. This is how he made his name. So he goes up top. He nails a shooting star press, a perfect shooting star press. He goes for the pin. He gets the 1. He gets the 2. He gets 2.999. And Gunther kicks out. And the place is going crazy at this point. They were hanging on to every near fall down the stretch here in this match. This was great stuff here. Ricochet pulled off his right wrist tape. Now you know he's getting serious. Pulls off the wrist tape. He starts throwing some palm strikes and some chops. Gunther trying to cover up. Ricochet caught him with a super kick. Then he looked like he was jumping up into the air. Like maybe he was going to go for a shotgun drop kick or something. As Ricochet went to go jump up into the air, Gunther chopped him out of midair. Just absolutely collapsed his chest in and chopped him right back down to the mat. Hit the power bomb and the stack pin, but he's not using that as his finisher anymore. So Ricochet kicked out. Crowd went wild. People were coming up out of their seats. So Gunther picked him up and he was yelling at him as he kind of picked him up off the mat. Ricochet looked up and he smacks the shit out of Gunther. He shakes it off. He slaps Ricochet, or smacks him, whichever word you want to use. He smacked the piss out of him. He picked up Ricochet, hit the last symphony, which is his new finish, and he pinned him to retain the championship. After the match was over, out came the members of Imperium. They got into the ring. They started putting the boots to Ricochet. We heard Braun Strowman's music, and he lumbered on down to the ring. Did Braun to clear out the heels. You know what that means, everybody. The Strowman Express. Down to the ring. And the heels bailed. And Braun Strowman went over to help Ricochet up to his feet. And he raised his arm. That is how they closed out the segment. Everybody wave. Everybody wave to Braun Strowman. We'll keep him around here on screen for a little bit. We don't get to see too many hard-hitting matches like this on SmackDown. It doesn't happen very often. This was a great match. These two have had 2 previous matches for the Intercontinental title on TV this year. Both of those matches were very good. This one was no different. This one was maybe the best of the 3 that they've had. This was quite the trilogy here. None of the matches worked out well for Ricochet. Gunther won every single time. But I greatly enjoyed this match. I greatly enjoyed the matches that they had here in this trilogy. I thought it was a great finale. The outcome was never in doubt because this guy over here, Braun Strowman, they've been teasing it for weeks. We knew that he was next in line to challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental title. So it killed some of the drama. There was never really any doubt about how this was going to go. And they didn't even waste any time because as soon as the match was over, they sent him right out there. It's like on to the next, right? So we knew how this was going to go, but even still, the people bought into it. The people believed. The people in Chicago were on their feet. 15,000 people going nuts for each near fall here in this match. They thought Ricochet had a chance. They were hoping against hope. And when you can convince people in a situation like this, where it's fairly predictable how this is going to go, and you can have them forget for a second and buy into it, you've done your job. So kudos to both guys. They went out there and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They pulled it off. I thought this was the best television match of the week. This was great. This was great stuff. And what I love about this the most is the Intercontinental Championship. Can we just take a moment here to acknowledge that the Intercontinental Championship has been forgotten about, has been diminished for so long? And I've talked about how you went from WrestleMania last year to, I think, the middle of this year without having a single Intercontinental title defense on a pay-per-view, right? So that just tells you right there the priority level of this championship on this show, right? A championship that as long as I've been a wrestling fan for, I've watched being defended on television, right? So I have a special place in my heart for the Intercontinental title. And so to see it just kind of, thrown on the back burner for so long sucked. But now we have the Intercontinental Championship on this show being featured. This is the type of crowd investment that we have not seen this title have in years. Because we've seen this play out in multiple matches that Gunther has had since his reign has started, where the crowd is into it. It feels like a big deal, right? We have not seen that level of crowd investment in this championship in a very long time. And it is very refreshing to see it. It's great to see, Walter thriving on the main roster. Even a year ago, I would have cringed at the mere thought of him being called up from NXT, because it would have been an uphill battle for this guy. And here we are now, the end of 2022. He's been up on the main roster now for probably about 6 months, right? Somewhere around 6 months, even before Vince went away. Long term, I don't have a lot of faith that Vince would have kept interest in Walter. Even when they initially called him up, Vince was booking him like exactly the way that he should have been booked. But I guarantee you it wouldn't have been very long before he would have gotten bored of him. Or he would have been fucking dancing on TV, right? Dancing with Shanky. Where'd Shanky go, by the way? He would have been doing the Shanky dance. So I'm grateful to see how he has done on the main roster. They have someone in him who is a legitimate number 2 heel in the company. It's exactly the role that I always said, if they book this guy right, if they realize and recognize what they have in this man. Roman Reigns is going to be that top guy, right? That top heel. You can have Walter in number 2. He can be at that level. He can be that final boss guy that people just want to see beat, right? He's a great old school classic heel. So it's awesome to see him thriving in this role, to see the Intercontinental Championship thriving, and I love it. And I don't want to leave Ricochet out of the conversation either, because Ricochet has actually had himself, I think, a hell of a year. The last 6 months have been the best 6 months that he has had since being called up to the main roster. Now, he won the Intercontinental title earlier in the year. He lost the championship to Gunther, I think it was in June. He's lost a lot of matches since then, but he also won the World Cup. He was also featured in a major championship match tonight. But the bigger thing is, he has been consistently featured on television now for the past 6 months. Maybe even a little bit longer than that. But certainly for the entire time that Triple H has had the book, he's kept Ricochet on TV. And Ricochet has won some matches, and Ricochet is... What's his ceiling? Do I see Ricochet being a world champion? No. This might be his ceiling. But it's nice to see him at least having a chance to go out there and do what he does best, because how long has he been on the main roster for? And he was just another guy. Some guys have special skills. Ricochet was always a very special talent. I look at him as a special talent in the way that a Will Ospreay is a special talent. These are people that can do things that not everybody can do. He should have been featured more often. The last 6 months, he's had the chance to be featured as one of the top baby faces on SmackDown. I know that sounds crazy, but he's been one of the top baby faces on the brand. So good for him. He went out there tonight, and I thought he killed it, and I thought Walter killed it. And if you did not see this match, if you watch nothing else from SmackDown tonight, make sure you go back and you watch this match, because this was great stuff. All right, get out of here. Clown. So backstage, Jimmy Uso walked into the Bloodline locker room and he asked Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief, what do you got planned for tonight? What's the plan? He told Roman that he thought it would be great if he made Sami an official Uso. Said he likes Sami. He goes, Sami's his dog. But he loves his family. And he loves Roman. Jimmy said that he would understand if Roman did not want to make him an official member of the Bloodline because of his past with Kevin Owens. And he told Roman that he would see him out there. He left. After Jimmy left, Roman told the wise man to call Pierce. And Paul Heyman picked up his phone and he dialed Adam Pearce's number. So we go to commercial. We come back from the commercial. Adam Pearce was summoned to the Bloodline locker room, and Roman told Pearce to take a seat. And Paul Heyman offered him the chance to have a very big match. And he offered him the chance for Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn to be tag team partners against Kevin Owens and a partner of his choosing. He goes, it could be anybody. He told Pearce, it could even be you if you want it to be you. So Adam Pearce now, he asks, do you want to do it tonight? And Roman laughs like, fuck out of here. I want to do it tonight. Are you kidding me? So no, we're not going to have the match tonight. Then he floats the idea of the Royal Rumble. Paul Heyman had a better idea. He said, what if we do the match live on network television? What if we do it on the final SmackDown of the year, December 30th in Tampa, Florida? Which led to the John Cena announcement later on in the show, which I will get to. The only thing I'll say about this, by doing this, it killed, and I know why they did it, obviously, seeing what they did at the end of the show, but it killed any drama around the whole Bloodline segment at the end of the show. They built the entire show around the Bloodline and Sami Zayn, and that some people thought this could be the night that the Bloodline is going to turn on Sami, right, and kick him out of the group. Well, you just went and announced that in 2 weeks, Roman and Sami are going to be tag team partners. It just took all the drama out of the final segment. So that's my only critique of this. But otherwise, it led to a very big announcement later on in the night. We had a triple threat tag team match. Womp womp. To determine the number one contender for the undisputed tag team titles with Hit Row, the Viking Raiders, and Legado del Fantasma. Ashanti the Adonis and Eric started the match. They spilled outside pretty quick. Top Dollar clotheslined Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro out to the floor. Eric recovered. He and Top Dollar then spilled outside as well. Del Toro and Wilde, they got up to the top rope. They hit dueling tornado splashes on everybody at ringside, and then it was straight to commercial break. Come back from commercial. Top Dollar got cut down by Eric with a spear. The Viking Raiders then caught him with a springboard clothesline combo with a German suplex. Joaquin Wilde broke up the pinfall attempt with a top rope dropkick. And shout out to Andre Israel. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Andre. Shout out to you. Speaking of Andre, perfect timing. We got an Andre reference here during the match. We had the fucking Andre incarnate here in this match. So Top Dollar. Let's just get right down to it here. Let's just get down to the reason that you're all here right now. Top Dollar decides, he sees all the bodies outside the ring. Top Dollar decides, he does his little hand. He thinks he's fucking Pentagon or something. He does the little hand thing that he does, right? Is that what it is? It's like the three, like that. Is that what he does? What does that mean? This is basically what his body did as he dove over the top rope. So Top Dollar, who's not moving around well these days, hits the ropes, and the idea is that he is going to dive out over the top and do a cannonball dive. And he's going to wipe out everybody on the floor. And he hits the ropes, and I immediately knew. He didn't come off the ropes, not even 5 feet. And I'm like, he's moving too slow. This guy expects that he's going to go diving out over the top rope. He's not going to make it. He might not even make it up over the rope. I'll give him credit for at least getting up over the rope. But he hits the ropes so slow that he gets caught up in the ropes. He's lucky he didn't snap his neck on the way down, right? We've seen people take that bump before, too. Vince McMahon very famously once, when he got thrown out of the corporate rumble on Raw back in 99 by China, got his head caught under the bottom rope and his head whiplashed, and it looked like he almost broke his fucking neck. Top Dollar nearly did that to himself here. He almost put himself in traction. So he didn't clear the top rope. He took this ridiculous bump, basically hit his back right on the apron, landed on his feet, tried to, play it off like, I meant to do that, basically. And the match continued at that point. They tried to divert our attention away from that. Zelina Vega ran in. She got involved. She hit a flying head scissors on Ashanti. B-Fab took her out with a kick. B-Fab then tackled Valhalla. Right, Sarah Logan now, she's Valhalla, whatever the fuck, however they want to pronounce it. She came in. They were both on the outside now. Zelina Vega comes, she hits a dive. Everybody dives. She took them both out with a dive. Back in the ring, Top Dollar and Ashanti landed a double team suplex and dropkick combo on Joaquin Wilde, and they picked up the win. This was terrible. Terrible! This was awful. And as I said before, Michael Cole pointed out on commentary that Top Dollar has lost 100 pounds. And he does look slimmer, and I say good for him. Right? That's going to be good for his long-term health. But as long as he continues to do stupid shit like this in his matches when he has no business doing it, that's going to be very bad for his long-term health. So maybe leave the dives to the people who actually know how to do them. I know that he wants to go out there and impress, and I know he's out there and he's trying, and nobody believes in Top Dollar more than Top Dollar. But that was a very stupid thing that he did. I don't know why he thought that it was going to work, but it was ill-advised. So even botch aside, this was not a great match here. And of all the teams in this match, they would have been at the bottom of the list of people who I would have sent to the Usos next week, but they were the only babyface team in the match. Legado del Fantasma are heels. The Vikings are heels. So you knew that Hit Row was going over. So now Top Dollar is getting a tag team championship match next week. I'm trying to visualize this. Hit Row and the Usos next week for the tag team. I almost want to see it out of morbid curiosity. I actually want to see this match really out of morbid curiosity more than anything else. That sounds dreadful, but the Usos are very good, and so I'm sure the Usos will make the match presentable. But I doubt that the match will have much in the way of heat. Now, maybe if Sami Zayn is out there with the Usos, he can be on the outside, he can be dancing around and stuff, get the crowd into it. They're taping Smackdown tonight, I think, for next week. Is that the case? I believe they're taping next week's show tonight. That may be the only saving grace. They're in Chicago. They had a hot crowd tonight. So maybe the match will have some heat if they're taping it tonight. I think they're taping it tonight. But yeah, Top Dollar, this was not his night. This was not his night. And again, for the second straight time, he looked very sluggish out there. I mentioned the knees last week. He's not moving around well. It tells me that he may be hurt. He may have an injury. I don't know that the rapid weight loss would have anything to do with that. I don't know. Not that he was moving around in there like a cruiserweight before, but there's been a noticeable difference in his mobility over the last few weeks, which is the reason why that dive got botched. Can't build up enough speed. Yeah, it was maybe a month and a half ago that he was doing that move where he jumped up on the ropes and he was on the top rope and he was, this version of Top Dollar, I can't see him doing that. So something's going on here. I think he may be dealing with some kind of knee injury. It wouldn't surprise me. After the match, we went to the back, and Raquel Rodriguez was being interviewed about her broken elbow. What did I say? What did I say a few weeks ago? I said we should take bets. Broken elbow. I said she'll be back in the ring in 3 weeks. I think I'm bang on. She's got a match next week. I think it's been 3 weeks. I was bang on with that. So she's talking about, she still has her arm in a brace and she's icing it. And she's talking about how doctors have cautioned her not to rush back. But this is personal. And then from off screen, here comes Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler to attack her. And they were kicking her injured elbow. And they threw the ice pack that she was holding on it back at her and said, here, 20 minutes ought to do it. And they announced the match. I'll get to it in a second, but they announced the match next week to crown a new #1 contender, and she's in the fucking match. So I told you, 3 weeks. In and out. 3 weeks. She's already back in the ring. Amazing. Finally, it was time for the Bloodline to grace our television screens here to close out the show tonight. Roman Reigns asked Chicago to acknowledge him. He said he has not seen his Bloodline partners since War Games, and it just so happens that at War Games, in case you didn't know, they dominated. And he hugged all the members. He looked at Sami. Sami was at the end of the line, and he hesitated, but then he gave Sami a hug. And Sami was all smiles, and then he wasn't. Because Roman said that tonight was going to be a good night for Sami Zayn. But we got a problem. We got a Kevin Owens problem. But he's got a solution. He said that it's going to be him and Sami teaming up to take on Owens and a partner in 2 weeks. They're going to smash him, and they're never going to see him again. Sami spoke up, and he called Owens a cancer and said that he is his old friend. Called Kevin Owens his old friend. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not good. They zoomed in on Roman's face. He had its wide-eyed look like, what did you just say? And then Sami realized his error, and he said, oh, I misspoke. I misspoke. He said that he was my only friend. Not that he is I am his only friend. He was friends with him previously, but they are no longer friends, is what he was trying to say. And he said that it will be an honor and a privilege to stand by his side. All of a sudden, we had a certain someone pop up on the Titantron, and we look up at the big screen, and who is it? It is Peacemaker himself. It is John Cena, who is taping this promo from somewhere. I don't know. There's a brick wall behind him. He's in his John Cena gear. He's always got the fucking shirt and the hat. He's in his John Cena gear. And boy, he put this together real quick, too. We're supposed to believe. He put this video together very quickly. So he says he got a text message, I guess in the last, 60 minutes, from his old friend, Kevin Owens, who texted him with all these emojis telling him that he's had a WWE match every year for the past 20 years, except this year. He is on the verge of his streak coming to an end. And Owens asked him if he wanted to be his partner on December 30th against Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. And Cena was being completely hokey and completely over the top. He was being John Cena here in this segment. John Cena has been gone for a while, right? We saw him, his little 20th anniversary celebration on Raw back in June. But that's it. We haven't seen him in a match all year. He hasn't been around. And they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And there was a period of time where I was sick to death of seeing John Cena. And I have learned to appreciate him more with him being gone and not being full-time anymore. But it took all of 30 seconds for me to be sick of John Cena in this segment. He was laying it on so thick. It was so fucking annoying. Just being so corny and goofy and over the top with this. But he accepted the invitation. He said Cena Claus is coming to town. So the challenge has been accepted. It will be John Cena and Kevin Owens teaming up for the very first time, taking on Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. That is a gigantic get for them to be able to do that match on television, on Fox, on the final show of the year. I had honestly forgotten that Cena had that streak going, that 20-year streak that was about to come to an end. So that's pretty cool. This is their way of being able to preserve the streak. This is also going to be Roman, and I couldn't believe this when they mentioned this on TV. But this is going to be the first time that Roman Reigns has wrestled, or at least defended the championship, but I think wrestled at all, on SmackDown. And he's not defending the title here. But this will be his first match since defending the title against Matt Riddle on television back in June. We have not seen him wrestle a match on SmackDown since June. It is almost January. Roman Reigns has that sweet schedule going on, man. He really is like Brock now. Brock doesn't wrestle on TV. How many matches has Brock Lesnar wrestled on television since he came back to the company 10 years ago? I think it was just the one. I think it was the 8-second squash of Kofi Kingston on that first SmackDown on Fox. Lesnar just does not wrestle on TV. They have wanted to keep him as a special attraction. I mean, that's the only match that comes to mind when I think of television matches that Brock has had. Roman is becoming the new Brock in that way. So when he does wrestle on TV, it feels like a bigger deal because we don't get to see him in action very often. But it didn't really hit me that it's been since June when they did the match with him and Riddle. Originally, that was supposed to be at Money in the Bank. That was the belief, but they ended up doing it on TV instead. I think Randy Orton getting hurt and going away screwed up a whole bunch of plans for them because it would have been Orton and Reigns at SummerSlam, not Reigns and Lesnar. Funny enough, Reigns and Lesnar went out there at SummerSlam and probably had the best match they've had since their very first match at WrestleMania 31. Was the last man standing match they had at SummerSlam this year. It was definitely better than whatever the fuck they gave us at WrestleMania this year. And there's also been talk that, John Cena may not be at WrestleMania. He's going to be filming a movie down in Australia with Zac Efron. I told you guys about the plot of the movie a few weeks ago on the podcast. He's going to be filming for 8 weeks. All of February and all of March. WrestleMania is the first few days in April. So if he wrestles on that show, it's going to be a bunch of, maybe video promos like tonight that he sends in, pre-tape promos. And you're going to have an absentee John Cena, which is not an ideal way to promote a WrestleMania match. That's what they did with Stone Cold Steve Austin this year, but it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, so they could get away with that. So John Cena may not have a match at WrestleMania. And if that's the case, maybe this is part of their calculation. Look, we're not going to be able to get John for WrestleMania. Maybe we can get him on TV. Tampa, it's in his backyard. I think that's where he lives now. Preserve his 20-year streak. We'll pop a big number. I'm sure they're going to pop a huge number that night. That could be part of the calculation here if they can't get him for WrestleMania. But Sami Zayn lives to fight another day. He does not get kicked out of the Bloodline. He survives at least another week. He did not get his Goodfellas moment, at least not yet. But it's coming. Now, next week is a taped show. I'm almost positive they're taping that second show tonight. And Ricochet and Braun Strowman are going to be taking on Imperium in a Miracle on 34th Street fight. So we'll get to see Walter out there being pummeled with candy canes. Number one contenders gauntlet match featuring Emma, the injured Raquel Rodriguez, Tegan Nox, Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, and Xia Li. One guess as to who wins the gauntlet match next week to get the shot at Ronda Rousey, probably at the Royal Rumble. And the undisputed tag team titles will be on the line. Set your DVRs, folks. It's going to be the Usos defending against Hit Row, Top Dollar, and Ashanti the Adonis. Can't wait. Can't wait. 72.6% of you have given SmackDown tonight a thumbs up. And only 11% thumbs down. So an overall very positive score here for SmackDown tonight. Let us head on over to your Super Chats and see what you guys are talking about here. Thank you for all the support. You guys come out in full force here on these streams. It means a lot to me here during the holiday season. It's very cool. William wants to know, has WWE decided to ignore the tease of Liv Morgan being crazy? I think we have enough crazy people on television right now, right? Bray Wyatt, pretty crazy. Who else? Who else is doing? Isn't there somebody on Raw doing a crazy gimmick right now? Well, not crazy, but Asuka. Asuka is going through some things right now. Asuka is back in Japan now, probably for the holidays. I think Indy Hartwell also mentioned the other day that she was going back to Australia. So probably, if you see a few people missing from television these next couple of weeks, who normally would be on television, it might just be because they're going back home for the holidays. We have got Brumakian Productions with a $5 super chat. Well, yeah, Nikki Cross is always crazy. Yes, Alexa Bliss, thank you. My God, how could I forget? So, yeah, the point is, I think we have enough people doing the crazy gimmick. I don't think they need to focus on that too much. Liv Morgan is over anyway without the crazy stuff. But to answer your question, it's not like they've dropped it. I mean, the woman nearly took her opponent's head off with a kendo stick in the opening minutes of her tag team title match tonight. Her partner had to talk her down from the ledge. So, no, they have not abandoned the crazy stuff with Liv Morgan. I'm just saying they don't necessarily need to focus on it as much. Brumakian Productions. Apparently, there are plans for Gunther and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Number one, that's a SummerSlam match. Number two, I think Brock doesn't want meat on his chest. What say you? I will be talking more about that on the podcast on Sunday. But yes, that is the rumor for WrestleMania. And we'll get into that more on Sunday. I'll say this, though. I don't think that will end well for Walt. But that's his dream match. That's the match he's wanted. He's openly talked about that being a dream match for him. Queen Fire Panda, I think my memory loss is back. Can you remind me who you are? You know, I'm talking about people who are crazy, and now I've got you coming in here telling me that you don't even know who I am. You don't even know my own name. You come in here every week, Fire Panda, and you don't even know who you're listening to. Do you know who I am?
I'm the Solomonster, damn it.
I mean, must I remind you every single week? Come on. Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, if pro wrestling is an Olympic sport, and they make Bret Hart a judge, will he give anyone more than 4 out of 10 score? I think anybody from Team Canada will get a higher score than 4 out of 10. If they're of Canadian descent, then I think they will. Give me Backshots Solomonster with the $5 super chat. Bray reminds me of Ministry Taker. Long-winded, rambling on the mic, boring in the ring, but a great theme. I know you didn't like Ministry Taker. I actually like Ministry Taker's theme music, so you're right about that. But yeah, Ministry Taker is probably the worst incarnation of the Undertaker for me. I was not a fan. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, top dollar stock just fell to $-. Yeah, he now owes money to the people who were watching him on TV tonight. Brewmaking Productions YouTube. Acknowledge Solomonster. Fire Panda says, I no longer want to see Keith Lee diving over the top rope. Thanks, Top Dollar. You ruin everything. I got news for you. Keith Lee shouldn't be diving out of the ring either. Scody Clash with the $4.99. SmackDown was amazing live in the building in Chicago. Love the Bray Wyatt stuff. Crazy that they are taping next week's show tonight. Going to be long. Well, I think it's cool. Not that we're going to get a taped show next week, but that they're doing that so that they can let the talent go home for the holidays. I think that's great. Fire Panda, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have been informed by the good doctor that Keith Lee has in fact dived. It's not dived. It's dove. Keith Lee dove over the top rope before. Must I correct all of you? Must I be the English teacher here on this stream? Carl Winslow watched SmackDown tonight with Harriet, Eddie, Laura, and Steve. Glad the Bloodline didn't kick Sami out of their family like we did our daughter Judy. Carl, you know what I think of when I think of Carl Winslow? I think of Yellow Die number 5. See how many of you get that reference. Joseph Brooks with the $9.99. Cherish, keep, borrow, sell on each WWE era's top 2 faces of that specific era. Hogan and Savage in the 80s. Michaels and Brett in the New Generation. Stone Cold and The Rock in the Attitude Era. Cena and Batista in the Ruthless Aggression Era. I grew up on Hogan and Savage, so for me, they're number 1. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Hogan, Savage, Austin Rock, Brett, Shawn, and Cena, Batista. In that order. Warhawk and Eric, yes, you are correct. GCC 305 here at work tonight, but want to wish a happy 43rd birthday to the Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee. Have a wonderful night, Solomonster. Yes, happy birthday to the late Brody Lee. We are coming up on the 2-year anniversary. I think the day after Christmas is when he passed away. K-Dog's Kennel with the $5 super chat. I know that you and Good Mike Work are close. For those who have not heard, his beloved cat passed away today. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Yes, I have already sent him a message, and we're thinking about good mic work. It sucks losing a pet, so I'm very sorry to hear that. S-Corp's Abandonment with that $50 super chat drop from the very beginning of the stream tonight. Man, you started us out hot, that 50 drop. What's good, Solo? I have been a long-time subscriber for years. I've just never been active in the live chat until now. I'm a huge Undertaker and Bray fan. I hope you and everybody in the chat have a blessed and enjoyable night. Well, I will try to do so, and I hope you do as well. Scorps, thank you very much for the 50. I appreciate that. It's good to have you in the live chat. Hopefully these people didn't scare you away. Dangerous Damien, going to the show on the 30th. Can't wait. Yeah, that's going to be a hot ticket now. If you got tickets to that Tampa show on the 30th, it's going to be a big show. Slipper House Extra Extra with the $4.99. Long live Pastor Solomonster. I know you can't wait for LA Knight against Leprechaun Howdy for the Regina D Wave Championship title. LA Knight is a future champion in this company. I just don't want him to be dragged down by all this, you know. And I like Bray too. I'm waiting for things to move along at a quicker pace. Thomas Rondon. I think if it's Cameron Grimes, no, it's Cameron Grimes, by the way, not Cameron Crimes. That sounds like a totally different gimmick. Cameron Crimes. Sounds like a gangster. That actually would be a great name for like a gangster type character. Cameron Crimes says that's a mistake because he would be a great addition to the main roster. Wait, I think if it's Cameron Grimes, that would be a mistake because he would be a great. Well, we're talking about him debuting on the main roster. So you mean in that role? I don't know what you mean, Thomas. Thomas, you need to explain. Cameron Crimes. I like that. I think you've hit on something. Accidentally hit on something with this. We hit 450 likes. So thank you for that. Let's shoot for 500. Why not? Do I think that Roman gets pinned in the tag team match? Is what Bliss fan would like to know. I think that would be a big mistake. I think you could tell that story where Roman holds Sami responsible for his first pinfall loss in 3 years, but I think when Roman finally gets pinned, it has to be when he drops the championships. So Sami could lose, and Roman can still be very upset with him for losing the match for them. Because most likely it's going to be Cena and Owens going over in that match. But would I have Roman Reigns be the one to take the pin and lose that match? Absolutely not. Roman Reigns should not be pinned until the time comes for him to drop titles, whether that's WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, whenever it may be. That is when he should be pinned. I would not pin him in a tag team match on TV. I think that's a silly idea. I would not do that. Rodimus Prime says, who bought... Rodimus, thank you for the 5. Rodimus Prime. Rodimus says, who botchier than Top Dollar? Thankfully, he's not hurt, but that was terrible. Oh! Rodimus! Rodimus. You got me. I don't know why. Rodimus. Oh, we love Rodimus Prime. We love Rodimus. Oh, man. Oh. I just like, in my mind, I'm just like, I'm listening to him. Oh, I'm just picturing Top Dollar saying it in his voice. Who bought you? Top Dollar. Oh. I don't know why that's so funny to me. No, we hope Top Dollar's okay. We hope Top Dollar's okay. We hope Top Dollar's okay. Oh, let's move on. James Holland. James Holland. It's worth $1.99. James says, must or bust Bray Wyatt against Karrion Kross. Must or bust. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of an interesting match. Right? Karrion Kross and Bray Wyatt. I think that could work. I'm good. We're good. You fucking guys. Anderson Blitz. John Cena in a match on December 30th is amazing. So Anderson is very excited for this match. Andre Israel. I heard from an online source that Shanky is beating Roman for the titles at WrestleMania. The source is Trust Me Bro. Well, that sounds like most internet sources. So thank you for the breaking news. 0.216. Solomonster, you're killing it with these shows. My dog, any day with a DeLorean is a good day in my book. I thought you would enjoy that. You know, I'm a big Back to the Future fan, so I thought the DeLorean there for the start would be a cool way to go. All right, I'm gonna go back here. There we go. I lost my composure there for a second. I got to keep it professional. But 0 point, thank you, brother. Thank you for the 5. Love Lie with the $4.99. Just got my wisdom teeth pulled this morning. For the most part, the pain has subsided, but thank you for making my night better as always. It sounds brutal. So I hope you will heal quickly and take lots of pain meds. Queen Fire Panda, language English, the of butchering for, you know, I thought you were having a stroke there in that super chat. And Thomas says, I meant Grimes, but the damn spell check screwed that up. I meant Grimes should be himself and not Uncle Howdy. I agree. I think Cameron Grimes, and I used to say this when Cameron Grimes was feuding with LA Knight for the $1 million title on NXT, and he was really at his peak as a babyface on that brand. He could be a great underdog babyface on the main roster. He doesn't seem like somebody who would get over in a huge way, but I think it would translate well to the main roster, and I think, yeah, with the right story and the right push, I think he could get over as a huge underdog babyface on the main roster as himself. So I agree. I don't think he needs... And again, I'm just saying there's certain elements of the Uncle Howdy appearance that made me think of him. I'm not saying it's him. I'm just saying it could be him. Everybody's thinking Bo Dallas. I'm thinking, you know, Cameron Grimes, I think, might be a possibility as well. If it were me, though, I would do the same thing. I would debut him as himself. And our boy Paul Heyman dropping a $5 super chat. Buy or sell, Vince McMahon returns to WWE or Joey Ryan returns to wrestling. You're asking me buy or sell? You're putting me in an impossible position here because I will never vote to buy on Vince McMahon coming back to run WWE. But I have no interest in Joey Ryan returning to wrestling either. I wasn't a Joey Ryan guy even before the whole scandal. So I'm going to sell on both. You know why? Because I can do that. So I'm going to sell on both. And I can do that because...
I'm the Solomonster, damn it.
That's it. Because I can. But thank you, Paul Heyman. Did Bray finally wrestle, says Darth Panic. No. No, he didn't. Although he did get his ass stomped in on the mat by LA Knight. But no, he did not wrestle a match. And it's probably going to be a while before we see him wrestling a match. Well, we've broken our goal. And you know what that means. It's Friday night. You know what that means. It's time to be the booker. And as Top Dollar would say, Top Dollar is not a...
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
It's not a... Oh, I can't do that again. Hey, look, everybody, it's Ronda Rousey. For SmackDown Women's Champion. Oh, my goodness. Well, we got more Super Chats coming in. And I will read them in a moment. First, we have to do Be the Booker. Cannot keep the people waiting. We begin with Dexter Lumis. See Big Show on screen not approving of Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis going to go one-on-one with Shane McMahon. Can't wait to see Shane McMahon's phantom punches as Dexter Lumis stands there and just stares at him. It sounds like a riveting battle. A riveting battle that I have no interest in seeing. On the ladies' side, take this thing for a spin. The randomizer is working in overdrive. We begin with Lita, looking very lovely here in this image. Lita looking spicy. Hey, Celerot just became a channel member. Celerot, what do you think about Lita here in this image? Lita, a former women's champion, a WWE Hall of Famer. Lita going to go one-on-one with Saraya. Interesting match. Lita and Saraya one-on-one. That'd be a big match. That's better than the men's match that I just booked. There he is. There's Celerot. There's Celerot. Has access to all the special emojis now in the chat. Let's see some of those Solomonster emojis, by the way, all my channel members here. Lita and Saraya. That is a big women's match. Over on the tag team side, it always falls on the tag teams to tie the, or to be the tiebreaker in these things. We're 1-1 right now. We begin with the Rhodes brothers, former Raw tag team champions, Cody and Dustin Rhodes. Cody and Goldust. This would have been back in, what, 2013, I believe. Always will have a special place in my heart for the Rhodes brothers and the Shield at Battleground back in 2013. It's one of my favorite matches of the last decade. Cody and Dustin are going to be stepping into the ring to take on MSK. That's a match. That's a match right there. MSK and the Rhodes brothers, sign me up. We went 2 for 3. I like it. 2 for 3 and be the booker this week. The only miss was Shane McMahon and Dexter Lumis. I see Tomas is a big fan of Cody's old music, right? Smoke and Mirrors. Whoa! Oh, there's smoke and mirrors. Whoa! There goes Cody Rhodes. All right, let's see here. We got Philip Burnell is a man with the $4.99 super chat. One more week with this name. Oh, is this Juan? I think it's Juan Ocampo. Yeah, you can't change his name back for another week. One more week with this name. Lesson learned, make a burner account to troll others. You corpsing should be made into a super chat. Thank you, Juan, or Philip, or whoever you are this week. Cameron Spencer with the $4.99. I super chatted recently about Sanity, and I'm a huge fan. You voiced displeasure at the mere mention of them. Have you changed your tune? They're rumored to be back. No, I haven't changed my tune. I never liked Sanity when they were in NXT. I didn't care for them. I was fine with them getting a shot on the main roster. I think they were definitely screwed. They never had a proper shot to get over on SmackDown, but I was never a Sanity fan. So the fact that they might reunite and come back, it doesn't excite me. You know, good for them, but I'm not going to throw a fucking party or anything like that. I just really don't care. I mean, does Nikki Cross even need that? Celerot also dropping a super chat. Things aren't going too good for Hit Row. No, they're not. It's been more like Death Row over the last month or so. Tonight did not help their cause either. Yes, I did. I saw Eric Young get murdered in Impact. So that was quite the exit for him on Impact Wrestling when they wrote him off. Matthew Miller says, if you could have one dream match besides any combo of Angle, Bryan, and Brett, what would it be? A dream match not involving any of those folks? I've talked about different matches that, in his prime, the Macho Man could have had with people. I think Prime Macho against Prime Rock and the promos leading up to it would have been amazing. So I'm going to go with that one. Shin, Super Kick Akuma, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Shin with the $1. Thank you very much. Bliss Fan believes that... So Bliss Fan, you believe that Bray and Uncle Howdy are in fact one and the same, and he just got somebody to wear the costume tonight? Possible? I said before, unless this was a decoy, I left that open as a possibility. Then it just becomes a question of who is Uncle Howdy. But Bliss Fan believes that Uncle Howdy and Bray are one and the same. Domination Warrior says Shawn Michaels against Okada. That would have been something. Imagine 1997 Shawn Michaels against, what was the last match Okada and Omega had? Was it 2018? I mean, even Okada today, but like Okada 3 or 4 years ago, that Okada against Shawn Michaels from 97. Rocky Road 313 with the super chat. I'm a big BTTF fan. I named my dog Marty. Talking about Back to the Future here. Yeah, Back to the Future, man. One of the greatest movies ever made. And you know what the other greatest, not greatest, but one of the greatest movies ever made? Back to the Future Part 2. I didn't really like Part 3. Yeah, it was okay. I wasn't really into the whole, Western thing, but Part 2 I love. Right? That's where we get our first introduction to the hoverboard. Right? Was the hoverboard in the first one? No. The hoverboard was in the second one. Back to the Future is classic cinema. somebody tweeted Christopher Lloyd and asked him about part 4. You know, could there be a Back to the Future part 4? And he said something like, you know, the trilogy as it is, the first 3 are just perfect. And I agree. I mean, we see so many of these movies with sequels or remakes. It's one of those films that does not need another sequel, and it does not need to be remade. I think those movies will stand the test of time. So I hope from his lips to all of Hollywood, they listen to what he said there, because we do not need any more Back to the Future movies. I'm still waiting on my hoverboard, by the way. I've always wanted a hoverboard. I thought by now we'd actually have one. And, you know, they have these things now called hoverboards. They're not fucking hoverboards, please. They call them hoverboards. They're not hoverboards. Yeah, I'll tell you something. Growing up, you know, as a kid in the 80s and seeing a lot of those movies, and they've come out over the years with a lot of like memorabilia and, you know, toys for different movies and stuff. And I always said, if they ever come out with like a scale replica action figure or statue or something for Johnny Five from the Short Circuit movies, I would buy it in a heartbeat. And I don't know who owns the rights to the movie, but I don't think they've ever made a single Johnny Five figure, like an official Johnny Five figure. And I never understood that, because I always wanted that, like for my collection. And here we are all these years later. I don't think they ever made a single one. And I'm always keeping an eye out, because they could probably make a killing off that stuff. And I just don't think they ever made it. But I love those Short Circuit movies. The first one, the second one. They had Michael McKean in the second one with Fisher Stevens. I don't know, man. We need a number Johnny Five. Lashia Young just subscribed to the channel. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. WrestleVids with the $2 super chat. Do you think that we get Rock back for WrestleMania? Gun to head, do I think Rock is gonna come in? I don't. I think at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, The Rock will not be a WrestleMania. That's just my gut telling me that after all the waiting and after all the wondering and wanting to do it and teasing it, do I or do I not think he'll be at WrestleMania in a match? I don't think he will. But whatever his answer is, he's going to have to give it to Triple H very soon. Bearwolf says they have Johnny Five toy. What are you talking about? They have Johnny Five toy. Where? Send me a link. None that I've ever seen. Somebody had something once on eBay, but it looked like it was custom made for like $800. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'll tell you what you can do with your Johnny Five. No, I mean, send me a link if there's something, because I've never been able to find anything about that. Crazy Gacy, what's going on? He says, morning from your personal court jester in the UK. It is freezing. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's not much better over here. Do more movie reviews. As soon as I watch more movies, I'll do more movie reviews. I don't get to watch as many movies as I would like to. Will I be reviewing the new Avatar movie if I see it in theater? I'm not planning on seeing the new Avatar movie, so the answer to that is probably no. I never saw the original Avatar. So if I wanted to see the second one, I'd have to go back and watch the first one. Mr. Ozone, that's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see if NECA is going to make a Johnny Five figure. Because they've done it for almost everything else at this point. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, they have RoboCop stuff. I've been keeping an eye out for any, Johnny Five related merch. NECA would probably do a great job with that, but it would probably be, an astronomical price. It'd be like a 9-inch scale figure for like $300 or something. I couldn't justify that. Darth Panic says it's like 3 hours, so we know you won't do it. Yeah. If Avatar is the same length as Monday Night Raw, that's a deal breaker for me. That is a deal breaker. Now, let me tell you guys, I'm very excited because in less than 24 hours, I'm going to be ringside in Queens, New York, calling my very first Kenta match. Kenta and Low Ki. This was a groundbreaking match, the first time and the only other time that it ever happened, from Ring of Honor Final Battle 2005. First time in 17 years, these two guys are stepping back into the ring together in New York, and I am one of the lucky ones who gets to call the action tomorrow night. We have that. We have Nick Aldis coming in to challenge Jacob Fatu for the House of Glory World Championship. We have the Briscoes. 1 week after they spilled blood against FTR in that dog collar match and won back the Ring of Honor tag team titles, they're defending the HOG tag team titles tomorrow night. So we have that. We have Masha Slamovich coming in to challenge for our women's championship. House of Glory Revelations. You can watch it on Fight TV if you are not going to be in New York to buy a ticket. Tickets are available, but you can watch it on Fight. So that is where I'm going to be tomorrow night. I am very excited. There could be some other fun stuff planned for the show, but, we'll have to wait and see. But I'll be on the call with JD from NY. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for that. And then, of course, episode 787 of the podcast. We got a lot to cover coming up on Sunday. We got Vince McMahon. We got Mandy Rose. We got Sasha Banks. We got a lot. We got Wrestle Kingdom stuff to talk about. Thomas says NECA would do a 7-inch scale figure of Johnny 5. They really should do him. Agree. No, I agree. That's what I'm thinking. Like a 6 or 7 inch scale. They do tremendous work. I mean, they really do on the paint job and everything, from stuff that I've gotten from them before, just to have on display. I mean, they do tremendous work. I can never understand why we don't see anything from that movie. I mean, I just think the way people buy stuff up like that, and all that kind of old school movie 80s stuff, I think it would sell well. I've just never seen them selling any of it. Celerot says, I don't want The Rock against Reigns or WrestleMania. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't want to see that match, but if WWE thinks they can get The Rock, they'd be absolute fools not to get The Rock for WrestleMania. Especially because if they could get The Rock for WrestleMania, that's it. There isn't going to be another Rock match. If he comes back, it's against Roman, that's it. You may as well just call it his retirement match. And so if they can get The Rock in the ring one last time before he gets any older, you take that opportunity. Hey, Daniel, thank you for the sub. I'm sure Daniel was finding all of the movie talk riveting here. So I thought I was tuning into a wrestling review. Why are we talking movies? Because the review is over. We have talked about SmackDown. There ain't nothing else to talk about here. We have talked about everything. We've talked about poor Top Dollar. Poor Top Dollar. We've covered everything there is to cover here. Yeah, Toxic Attraction. I'll talk more about that, but I feel bad the most out of anybody involved in this whole, or anyone who's affected by this, mostly for Gigi and JC, because they didn't do anything wrong. They had nothing to do with any of this. And they may end up being okay. They'll probably just keep them together as a tag team, but who knows? Toxic Attraction was a trio. And Mandy was the centerpiece of that group, and without her, there's no guarantee that they'll get the kind of push maybe that they would have had on the main roster. So it sucks for them. And again, it's nothing that they did, but it's going to have some blowback on them. Slim Yoshi with the $5 super chat. Glad we finally have an answer on the Sasha Mercedes situation. Good luck to her. Although I won't miss the Sasha stans. Ugh, I hate that word. Question is, are they really, if they're that big of a fan of hers, then they should follow her wherever she goes. Will the Sasha stans follow her to Stardom in New Japan? Will they be watching Wrestle Kingdom? Or are they only WWE like ride or die? We're going to find out how many of these stans are truly Sasha Banks fans or just WWE fans kind of masquerading as Sasha Banks fans. And then when she leaves, she kind of becomes the enemy. Because we see that sometimes with people. It's like, you're dead to me now, you know? We're going to find out who the real fans are now. If you're a real fan, you follow her. Right? You follow these people to the ends of the earth, no matter where they go. If Sasha were to end up, working for House of Glory, right? You got to come down to House of Glory. You got to follow HOG, right? You never know. We've had Sasha Banks come to the House of Glory school to train with Amazing Red, right? She loves the Amazing Red, and it's a big mentor and inspiration for her. Anything's possible. Crazier things have happened. 2023 will be a very interesting year. Wally Walls dropping a $9.99 super chat. What is that? Is that like a Christmas background? I don't know what that is in the background of the super chat. That's very cool. Looks like, I guess maybe that's fireworks. Hey, Wally, thank you, brother. Sasha and Hog, get that checkbook out, Solo. I'll see what I can do. We may have to break the bank for Sasha. We'll see. We'll see if we can make that happen. I may have to mortgage this house. I don't even own this house. The stands have already turned on her. Have they? That's very sad. We're gonna find out who the real OGs are. All right, guys. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the love here on the stream. Thank you, Rodimus, for the laugh. Oh, me. And I'm going to be back with you live on Monday night for the Monday Night Raw stream. And, of course, episode 787 of the podcast coming up on Sunday. But first, Fight TV tomorrow night for HOG. Hey, BCOM, see clearly. You get the last super chat. I can't see you. Get on camera, damn it. Boy, he must be delayed from earlier in the stream when I went off camera there for a second. You're like Google Chrome user who used to pop in here. His stream is on a delay. Anyway, be well, stay safe, have yourselves a great weekend, and I will see you back here for more Sound Off very soon. Hit that like button on your way out. Take care, guys.
Fuck Evan Dunn.